Here's how I do a lock single-handed. I tie up the boat with a centre line, and the first thing to do is go and have a look at the lock, see whether you've got to fill it or whether you've got to empty it. And also have a look and see if any boats at the other side of the lock can make better use of the state of the lock than you. So if it's empty and a boat's waiting to come up, you might as well let that boat come first. On this occasion there was no one there, so it's just a question of opening the paddles and filling the lock. James Brindley built this canal in 1772, and he made these circular weirs so that water coming down the canal from higher up can escape round a lock rather than flooding the canal and running down the towpath. And these weirs are always next to the locks. Well, there was nothing around on this occasion. The lock's full, so the next thing to do is to open the gates to let the boat in and make sure that you remember to close the paddles. On this day I used just the gate paddle and one of the ground paddles. I was in no hurry. It meant I could stay on the same side of the canal. So close the paddles. Next thing to do is get the boat in. Now sometimes I walk the boat in by walking it along the towpath, sometimes I drive it in. On this occasion I walked it in. It's a bit of a slow process, so I didn't bother to video that. Now with the boat in the lock, you can open one of the gate paddles on the lower gates. I only open one at a time because I want to go back to the boat and make sure that the gunnels, the rubbing strip around the sides of the boat, which actually overhang the hull, don't get hung up on the sides of the lock. So I let the boat go down slowly first with just one paddle open while I check it. Also gives you an opportunity to make sure that you've got the bow rope in your hand. If the boat goes down a lock, especially a deep one, and you haven't got some contact with it by rope, you can't really move it or control it at all. So I'm going to give the boat a little pull here, just to move it up to the end of the lock where I'm going to be working. Make sure I can reach it. And you put the rope down, giving yourself plenty of spare rope, so that if the boat does start moving in the lock and start pulling the rope with it, you've got time to get back to it. If there's any serious movement, I would tie it up. Right, all's going well here, so I can go and open the other gate paddle, and then the boat will start to go down a bit faster. Again, a quick check on the rope to make sure there's plenty of it lying on the towpath and I'm not going to lose the end if the boat moves. And when the water level in the lock has equalised with the lower level of the canal, you can see about opening the gates and of course remembering to close the paddles. Now at this point I always move the boat a little bit further towards the gate, because for the next part of the process I'm going to need the whole length of the rope as much as I can get. Now the Staffordshire and Worcestershire Canal locks have a feature which I make a lot of use of in single-handed locking, and that's the bridge. There's always a little footbridge that goes across the bottom of the lock, and I stand on this bridge and give the boat a pull, get it moving, and then gather up the rope in my hand as it becomes slack, until finally the boat's just underneath and you can drop it onto the roof. Then you go down the steps at the tail of the lock and catch the boat as it comes past. Now the tail of the lock is the same width as the lock itself, so the boat really can't go anywhere unless there's some current that's pushing it. So you check on that. On this occasion the water was absolutely calm, so the boat wasn't going to go anywhere. If there is any kind of current that might move it, I'll tie it up to something. And you go back up to the top, close the gates, the paddles are already down, so you're just about ready to go. That's it, all done. The last thing to do is go back down the lock landing steps, get back on your boat and carry on.